Tonight's headlines: Palace shields vaccine talks with China. Duterte not qualified to try COVID-19 vaccine. Coronavirus cases in the country now at 182,365. Zubiri urges NBI to probe water leak in PhilHealth office. Nasdaq closes at all-time high. World Bank chief warns extreme poverty surge. Former SolGen urges to dismiss petitions versus Anti-Terrorism Act. And Habagat prevails over Metro Manila. Good evening. Today is Friday, August 21, 2020. I am Elmer Navarro Manuel, and this is Tribune News on Q. Here are the stories for this evening. Malacanang disclosed on Friday that talks on a coronavirus vaccine will remain unaffected by a fresh diplomatic protest lodged by the Philippines against China over tensions in the West Philippine Sea. Presidential spokesman Harry Roque brushed off the possible impact of Manila's new diplomatic protests against China on possible cooperation on a COVID-19 vaccine between the two countries. To recall, China had promised to give priority to the Philippines once it discovers a vaccine for COVID-19, even as it continued to assert indisputable sovereignty over the South China Sea, including parts of the Philippines' exclusive economic zone and the West Philippine Sea. The Department of Foreign Affairs on Thursday announced that it had filed a diplomatic protest against China over the illegal confiscation by the Chinese Coast Guard of Filipino fishermen's fishing gear at the Panatag Shoal, the traditional fishing grounds within the disputed waters, in May. While the Philippines and China have fostered warmer ties under President Rodrigo Duterte's administration, the maritime dispute remains, with Beijing shunning a July 2016 ruling on a Philippine action that invalidated its expansive nine-dash-line claim over nearly all of the South China Sea. In April, the Philippines filed diplomatic protests against China over two developments in the South China Sea that Manila assert as violations of the country's sovereignty and of international law. Former Health Secretary Esperanza Cabral said on Friday that President Rodrigo Duterte will not qualify to participate in the Phase 3 trials despite his enthusiasm to get the first shot of Russia's COVID-19 vaccine. Cabral said that all clinical trials have an inclusion and exclusion criteria, and for Phase 3, the president is in the exclusion criteria by virtue of his age as well as other risk factors, noting that he will not be admitted into the clinical trial at all. She added that once the clinical trials are over for the general healthy population, there will be smaller trials for people who are elderly, for people who have heart disease, diabetes, and the president can qualify for that smaller trial. To recall, Duterte volunteered to be the first one to try Russia's Sputnik 5 vaccine. The former health chief said that participating in the clinical trials for COVID-19 vaccine is an altruistic deed, but it should be voluntary. In another online forum on vaccines, Philippine Foundation for Vaccination President Dr. Lisa Gonzalez said health workers were among those who will be prioritized to join clinical trials for COVID-19 vaccines. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
Ang Ang Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators o POGO ay isang legitimate business entity na nagbibigay serbisyo sa offshore gaming para lamang sa mga manlalarong nasa abroad sa pamamagitan ng internet. Ang mga serbisyong handog nito ay katulad ng casino games at sports betting na pwedeng laruin kahit wala sa casino. Sa Pilipinas, walang POGO operators. Tanging POGO service providers lamang dahil nagaganap ang mga laro sa labas ng bansa.
Good morning, sir. How may I help you?
Bakit kailangan ko pang pumunta sa bangko?
Oo nga naman, sir. Ba't kailangan pang pumunta sa bangko?
Why not get a UB app so you can do all these without going to the bank? Bank the way you live. Union Bank.
The Health Department reported 4,786 confirmed coronavirus disease cases on Friday, bringing the total number of infected in the country to 182,365. The day's total is the fourth highest number of additional cases reported in a single day since the start of the pandemic. Of the cumulative total, 64,906 are active cases. More than half, or 2,716 of the day's cases, which is based on the reports of 103 out of 109 laboratories, were from the National Capital Region. The rest were from Cavite with 267, Laguna with 222, Batangas with 185, and Rizal with 185. The number of recoveries, on the other hand, is now at 114,519 after 616 recuperations reported, while the death toll now stands at 2,940 following 59 fatalities recorded. A total of 443 duplicated cases were removed from the previous tally. This also included 189 cases that were tagged as recovered. Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader Juan Miguel Zubiri on Friday urged the National Bureau of Investigation to look into the water leak in a Philippine Health Insurance Corporation office in Ilocos region to check if the damage was intentionally done to destroy evidence. A portion of the PhilHealth office in the region was reportedly swamped after water entered the building through a damaged roof. This happened amid ongoing investigations on alleged PhilHealth corruptions. Zubiri believes that there may be a cover-up on the investigations, and he is asking the NBI to get to the bottom of the incident to see if the roof leak was deliberately done to obstruct the ongoing investigations. The senator added that the ombudsman should immediately implement its suspension order against several PhilHealth officials so that documents can be protected. Several PhilHealth officials are being investigated for their alleged involvement in the disbursement of millions of COVID-19 funds to dialysis centers and maternity clinics, as well as the overpricing of equipment for the agency's modernization program. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
Bilang bagong mag-asawa, sabay kami natututo sa buhay.
Sabay rin namin inaaral ng mga bayarin sa bahay.
Kahit kami, nagtaka sa biglang laki ng electricity bill namin. Huwag pong mangambang maputulan. Sinisigurado ng Meralco na walang disconnection hanggang September.
Estimated bills lang ang natanggap natin ng March, April at para sa ilan, May. Dahil sa lockdown, isang tabi to para hindi na maguluhan.
Ang May o June ay actual meter reading na. Kung May nagka-actual reading, ibabawas dito ang huling reading bago mag-ECQ. Yan lang po ang ating babayaran hanggang 3 buwang konsumo.
Kung estimated reading sa May at June nagka-actual reading, ibabawas din dito ang huling reading bago mag-ECQ. Yan lang po ang ating babayaran. Hanggang 4 na buwang konsumo, walang labis. Tandaan, kung ano lang na konsumo,
Yun lang ang babayaran.
ako po si Mateo G.
At ako naman po si Sarah G.
G?
G!
Araneta City, home to the country's first indoor shopping mall, the world's original Thrilla, and the first ever Beanie Beanie pageant. Now a place for your first win, your first catch, your first home, your first big break, your first date, and even your first love. City of Firsts.
In business, Nasdaq ended at a record high with the S&P 500 and Dow also rising as gains in heavyweight tech stocks outweighed downbeat data that affirmed the Federal Reserve's view of a difficult road to economic recovery. Gains in Apple Incorporated, the only publicly listed US company to cross the $2 trillion market value milestone, Amazon.com Incorporated, and Microsoft Corporation underpinned the three main indexes gains as investors bet they would ride out of the economic crisis. Stocks had opened lower on data that showed jobless claims rose unexpectedly back above the 1 million mark last week, after slipping below that level for the first time since the start of the pandemic. Separate data from the Philadelphia Fed showed a business conditions index fell more than expected in August. The volatility in jobless claims followed the lapse of an extra $600 weekly unemployment benefit at the end of July and came as Democrats in Congress have failed to reach an agreement with the White House on extending it. Nasdaq clocked its 19th record closing high since early June when it confirmed its recovery from the coronavirus sell-off. World Bank President David Malpass warned that the coronavirus pandemic may have driven as many as 100 million people back into extreme poverty. The Washington-based development lender previously estimated that 60 million people would fall into extreme poverty due to COVID-19, but the new estimate puts the deterioration at 70 to 100 million, and he said that number could go higher if the pandemic worsens or drags on. Malpass added that the situation makes it imperative that creditors reduce the amount of debt held by poor countries at risk, going beyond the commitment to suspend debt payments. Even so, more countries will be obliged to restructure their debt. Advanced economies in the group of 20 already have committed to suspending debt payments from the poorest nations through the end of the year, and there is growing support for extending that moratorium into next year. But Malpass said that will not be enough, since the economic downturn means those countries, which already are struggling to provide a safety net for their citizens, will not be in a better position to deal with the payments. We will be back after these reminders.
In the days ahead, we need to lean on the values that make us a great company, the Malasakit, for which we are known, and the understanding that, as San Miguel, we stand for something far greater than ourselves, that we have the responsibility to extend a hand to those who most need it. It is our sense of duty and obligation, pagkakaisa and malasakit, that will see us through these difficult times. Kwentong Malasakit.
In other news, a veteran lawyer and former Solicitor General Estelito Mendoza has asked the Supreme Court to allow him to appear as amicus curiae or friend of the court in the petitions challenging the Anti-Terrorism Act. In a petition for leave filed Thursday, he invoked a provision in the rules of court which allows the tribunal to invite an experienced and impartial attorney to help in resolving issues submitted before it. But as early as now, Mendoza has made known his position. He wants the petitions dismissed due to lack of jurisdiction based on the petitions filed by lawyer Howard Calleja and former SC Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio. Although not invited by the Supreme Court, Mendoza cited his long experience as a member of the bar in actual practice since 1953. A faculty member of the University of the Philippines College of Law from 1954 to 1974, and as Solicitor General during martial law from 1972 to 1986, where he defended the legality of the proclamations of the late dictator Ferdinand Marcos. His most relevant experience, he said, is representing at the time the Chief of Constabulary, then General Fidel Ramos, who would later be President, and Secretary of Defense Juan Ponce Enrile, who would later become Senate President, in more than 500 petitions for habeas corpus brought before the Supreme Court, questioning the legality of the arrests and detention during martial rule. In his filing, Mendoza pointed out that the petition does not allege the commission of any act violating the anti-terrorism measure, and urged the High Court not to do away with the requirement that a petitioner must be an aggrieved party in any petition for certiorari filed before the court. And Pag-asa reported on Friday that a low-pressure area and the southwest monsoon are expected to bring cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms over Metro Manila. It will also affect the Ilocos region, Cagayan Valley, Central Luzon, and the province of Rizal. In its 24-hour forecast, the weather agency warned affected residents of possible flash floods or landslides due to moderate with at times heavy rains. At 3 p.m. on Friday, the LPA was estimated at 125 kilometers northeast of Basco, Batanes. Meanwhile, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers may prevail over the rest of the country due to localized thunderstorms. Pag-asa said flash floods or landslides are possible during severe thunderstorms. Sunrise is at 5:43 a.m. and sunset will be at 6:14 p.m. We'll pause for a short break. Stay with us.
With these cell sites, it affords us better cooperation and communication with the outside world because it is vital for FU and RMF to have this. We are now dependent on this cellular signal, and it has helped us a lot. Connectivity is not a problem because we allowed these cell sites to prevail and to be on our roof deck and our helipad. Hindi tayo mawalan ng signal sa lahat ng rooms namin dahil may cell site tayo sa taas. It's one of our major advantages. I think that's the greatest decision that I was a part of because if not, we would probably be in a worse case right now. I'm thankful that we allowed these cell sites to be installed. I'd like to think and hope that all hospitals have that. We have not had any case of cancer regarding cell sites. As a matter of fact, we employ many cell sites and many boosters inside the hospital. For us, it has saved lives. I think with this new normal, we have realized that we are more dependent on this technology. Cell sites, if not connectivity, are a must.
That wraps up the stories tonight. Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. The Daily Tribune is one with the nation in facing the COVID 19 crisis, and in line with this, the Daily Tribune digital edition on Press Reader is now available for free online. You can also download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS users and Google Play for Android users to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune is also inviting everyone to join its community Viber Katribu to get updates on the freshest and hottest news and entertainment stories of the day. Torcito emoticons are also available on our community Viber. Just click on the link in this video to join. Daily Tribune will also be launching its latest mobile app, and we want you, our dear viewers, to help us in naming the newest addition in our online family. All you have to do is to like and follow our social media platforms and comment your vote for the following: DT Mobile, Tarsi Go, and Katribo Mobile, and add the hashtag mobile app. Prizes await 10 lucky individuals who voted for the winning name. Check our social media platforms for details. And before we go, we would like to thank the SM store for my shirt and jacket this evening. This is Elmer Navarro Manuel, and you're watching Tribune News on Cue. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good night, and God bless us all.